But I am in central Italy.
Rob thinks he's Richard Nixon.
Am I wrong?
Oh boy. The middle of Italy. The middle of Italy.
We are getting more central and we're getting hotter too. Climate. Let's talk about climate. Let's talk about grape growing. Let's get them out of the way. Moderate altitude in the inland area, so more towards the Umbria area and the central parts of, say, Lazio and Tuscany, as well as Marche. We're also having the coastal regions be moderated by the sea breeze coming in from the ocean, the sea.
All right, most of talking about central Italy is going to be talking about regions. So big guy here is Tuscany. The majority of production here is with Sangiovese. This grape is very late to ripen, so as such needs that warmer climate of Tuscany to properly ripen. In wine, Sangiovese has aromas of like red cherry, plum, dried herbs, and winemakers here often age in oak to soften the tannin and to add like the oaked spice characteristics. Small and large format oak is used, depends on the specific vineyard and the winemaker. And most of these wines do stand up to bottle aging, and bottle aging adds very like meaty and gamey characteristics to your Sangiovese.
Some of our subregions that exist within the region of Tuscany, our first is Chianti, which exists on the foothills of the Apennines mountain, or the Apennines mountain range as well. We're seeing a lot of production of Sangiovese here. However, we do have many wines that are being blended with Sangiovese being the majority in those blends. Some large volume production exists as well, involving sourcing from the larger region of Chianti DOCG. Our high quality Chianti DOCG may only be made from a small subzone of wine, that overarching Chianti DOCG. Chianti Rufina DOCG and Chianti Collisensi DOCG are both known for their very high quality wine production. Chianti Classico DOCG has a specific DOG outside of the regular DOCG of Chianti. These wines have higher acidity with more herbal characteristics and do have a minimum aging requirement of 12 months before they get the ability to be released in market. Chianti Classico Riserva DOCG goes a step further and requires 24 months of aging, 3 of which must be in the bottle, however, has no oak aging requirement. I'll finish it off with Gran Selezione. These are the highest designation wines coming out of Chianti Classico, and these must be sourced from single estate. Also must be aged for 18 months. These don't require oak, but the decision is up to the winemaker in terms of style. If they want to add oak, they do have that option. It's not forbidden.
All right, southern Tuscany. So here we're going to have a lower altitude and a warmer climate because of it. You have cool maritime breezes coming off of the Mediterranean that provide temperature control. You're mitigating influences, your natural factors that affect the vineyard. Here we're going to have full-bodied wines with very high concentration. Just some DOCGs we would like to know. We have Brunello de Montalcino DOCG and Vino Noble de Montepulciano DOCG. These are the most prestigious regions of southern Tuscany. You can use the DOC status if wines are coming from a poor vintage or if they're like young vines. In case they would be labeled Rosso de Montalcino DOC or Rosso di Montepulciano DOC. You have Vino Nobile de Montepulciano. That's a mouthful. This can either be a blend using Sangiovese with other allowed varietals, and this must be aged for 2 years before sale as a minimum. Your Brunello de Montalcino must be entirely Sangiovese and has to be released the 5th year after harvest. So wines, Brunello de Montalcino wines must spend a minimum of 2 years in wooden vessels.
Then we'll move on to the coast of Tuscany, which is having a very nice moderating influence, being cooled by the sea breezes. We're seeing a lot of black Bordeaux varietals here. Think Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. as well as some Cabernet Franc as well being made in this area. We're also seeing this idea of the Super Tuscan being made in this area, and it goes beyond the traditional tradition of Tuscany wines outside of that labeling term, generally made with Cabernet Sauvignon and sold at a premium price, despite it not having the PDO status. Like I said, it goes outside of that PDO status to do a style that is in and of itself. This is a reestablishment of Italy's reputation of excellence for wine. Many Italian wines are bottled as Toscana IGT, this overarching IGT label that goes not as specific as our PDO. We have Blogheri DOC, which is permitted wines to be made with non-Italian varietals. Think Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, and Merlot.
Excuse me, our next region is Umbria. It's a similar climate to Tuscany. And within the greater Umbria area, you have Orvieto DOC. So wines made in the Orvieto DOC is a blend of Grassetto, Trebbiano, and sometimes other local grape varieties. And wines here are light in body with high acid and very ripe grapefruit flavors. You then have the Sagrantino de Montefalco DOCG, which is the most prestigious red wine of Umbria, and it is made from the grape Sagrantino.
Then we have the region of Lazio, which is known for Fracati DOC, which is a blend of Malvasia and Trebbiano. Malvasia is a grape that we actually see production of in Madeira as well for a sweet style fortified wine. The wine is generally made unoaked and in a fresher style with a medium body, high acid, and notes of citrus fruit.
You then have Marche. The wines here are, the best known wines from here are made from Verdicchio. You have a DOC for Verdicchio. You have Verdicchio de Castille de Jesi DOC. Very high acid flavors, very grapefruit, lemon. And many of the wines here are simple and fruity, but some of them can age. You then have the Conero DOCG, which is a blend of Montepulciano and Sangiovese.
Then our last region, Abruzzo. This is famous for its production of Montepulciano and is known for the DOC Montepulciano di Abruzzo. This is a wine made with a style of high tannin, more medium acid with flavors of black fruits. When most of our wines are going to be in an unoaked style that's slightly more simple, meant for early drinking, but there are some concentrated examples that are allowed to age in oak for a short period to produce a more concentrated flavor. And we'll just go over our key grapes for Central Italy. Our black grapes, we're going to see our Montepulciano and Sangiovese. Those are our native grapes. And then our native grapes for white varietals are going to be Trebbiano, Verdicchio, Malvasia, and Grecetto. So that was Central Italy. That wasn't very difficult at all.
Wasn't too painful.
Not very.
It was the central of Italy. We will be going to the southern of Italy, like the south of France. What?